Guys, I know this may sound like a long shot here, or even silly for that matter, but I really don't think that we should be taking this lightly, okay? I think we may be witnessing history being made here with Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Not only are we living in reality where we could say that we have successfully managed to achieve a trilogy of Sonic movies, let alone a video game trilogy for that matter, where each one has been consistently good in the span of 4 years, but I truly believe that it may be turning out to be the best video game movie of all time right now. Let's talk about it. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the third live-action Sonic film directed by Jeff Fowler, who directed and helmed the first two, both of which were also great by the way, and still continue to be referred to as two of the best video game movies of all time, at least in my opinion. Sonic, voiced by Ben Schwartz, returns along with his two best friends and teammates, Miles Tails Prower, who continues to be voiced by his current voice actress, Colleen O'Shaughnessy, and Knuckles, again voiced by Idris Elba. And his parental figures, Tom and Manny Wachowski, with both James Marsden and Tika Sumpter returning. Together face off the newest threat in town, Shadow the Hedgehog, voiced by Keanu Reeves, who worked with both Dr. Ira Robotnik, aka Dr. Eggman, along with his grandfather, Dr. Gerald Robotnik, who are both portrayed by Jim Carrey in a dual role, plans to destroy the world in pursuit of exacting revenge against humanity. It really only feels like yesterday where our first glimpse at the franchise was with the highly infamous original design for Ugly Sonic back when they gave us that horror trailer back in 2019. I mean, who could forget that abomination?
Meow?
Well, I guess nowadays he's hanging out with his new pals Chip and Dale over at Disney, which now I guess you can say that Disney owns him, I guess. I honestly wish that Disney, Ugly Sonic would make a cameo appearance in a new Mufasa movie to try to spite fans, but only, kick themselves in the nut, because that would have been absolutely hilarious, but wishful thinking. But here we are with the third live-action Sonic film already, only 4 years after the first one, and boy, times have changed. Back after the original trailer came out, in a rare turn of events, a major film production studio, aka Paramount Pictures, made the fateful decision to actually listen and take into serious consideration the negative public reception and redesign him to how he looks like today. And to think that if they were stubborn cash grabbers who hadn't decided to listen to the fans, we wouldn't be able to come this far to get any of the following. Jim Carrey making a career comeback, or swan song performances of his career, I guess, as the one and only Dr. Eggman, not once, not twice, but 3 frickin' times.
There's 2 Eggmen now?
Double your villains, double your fun.
Even pulling off a dual role as both Dr. Eggman and Dr. Gerald Robotnik. We got live-action Tails, we got live-action Knuckles, Super Sonic and the Chaos Emeralds. Boy, that was really hyped to see back when the second film came out. And we even got a Knuckles TV series earlier, last year. And even despite their status quo as live-action video game movies, it shouldn't come across as an entirely big surprise that Sonic the Hedgehog 3 had a lot of expectations to live up to. Not only is Jim Carrey returning not just as Dr. Eggman, but in a dual role as both him and Gerald Robotnik, aka Eggman's granddaddy-o. But this film introduces and brings to life probably the most popular character of the entire Sonic franchise, well, under Sonic himself at least, Shadow the Hedgehog, adapting this tragic backstory of the Sonic lore from both Sonic Adventure 2 and his own 2006 video game. And as a Sonic fan myself and how much the Sonic franchise means to me, this is my second most anticipated film of 2024. You guys have no idea just how excited I was for this film. It's one of those movies where I'm so hyped up that I literally cannot wait any longer. I would get restless because I really want to go see it. Even if it meant going by myself and not a lot of movies, I would go for it. And not a lot of movies get me feeling that way in recent years. As a Sonic fan and as a movie fan myself, I would say, yes, it hit home on so many levels. So this is going to be my non-spoiler review due to the movie still not being released in some countries yet, and I'm actually going to wait, as well, just in case I decide to delve deeper into the movie for another time, especially if I decide to eventually make a video comparing both this and the live-action Mufasa Lion King prequel, which, when it comes out on home media at least. And why clearly one is superior to the other, and why you should watch one of them over the other. That will be for, I think, if I decide to do that, that'll be for another time. But anyways, on to the actual review. In my opinion, this is the best of the Sonic live-action trilogy. Like, they upped the ante on this one, and they took all the good parts of the series, which we all loved, and dialed it up to 11. Like, the VFX are so good in this movie, an absolute top-notch, and to the most minute and last detail. It all looks super real, and they actually look super clean and polished. I can tell how much of their budget they put into the CGI to perfect it as it is shown in the final movie. Yeah, they really managed to budget extremely well for this movie, and it shows. The action sequences though, man, I was like literally jumping up in my seat and just like, yeah, it was a really amazing experience. Like, it is just phenomenal, like with how far we've come, and like it's straight out of a Dragon Ball Z fight, like especially in the third act climax. It was, dude, like it's so hype. This is big cinema, y'all. From my basic knowledge of Sonic Adventure 2, I never played the actual game on the Sega Dreamcast. I never owned one as a kid. But from my basic knowledge, it is everything I wanted this movie to be. And it delivered on so many fronts in every possible way. The voice performances, man, I think the voice performances are also the best in this trilogy. Like, Keanu Reeves, man, my man, the one and only, the incomparable. Oh man, he's so good in this role. In case you guys didn't know, Keanu Reeves was a very popular fan cast for Shadow the Hedgehog himself. Like, way before, even after like the second film with the post-credits scene with Shadow the Hedgehog showing, immediately fans were like fan casting Keanu Reeves as Shadow.
You're a colorful bunch.
And once he was confirmed back in April, like earlier, like I can only imagine like the happiness that everyone felt. Like, I can't believe like the #1 fan cast came true.
Please, 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 please. Yes, Keanu! You are a national treasure.
And Keanu Reeves did his homework, man. Like, he delivers and packs a punch. Like, whenever I'm gonna hear Shadow, I'm gonna hear Keanu Reeves, to be honest. He fits the role so well. Like, he carries out all the emotions from his anger and sadness because of his like backstory. He really pulls off like the emotional beats, and he understands this character so well.
You jumped out of a gun helicopter. There's nothing to talk about.
Ben Schwartz, I think this is his most intense performance as Sonic. This is the angriest we are seeing Sonic in this movie, and pulled off Sonic's emotional moments. Like, we aren't just, listening to Sonic, quipping or, having fun. He actually has a bit of a serious role this time around. And yeah, Ben Schwartz tackles that very well. Colleen O'Shaughnessy continues to demonstrate that she's the best modern day voice of Tails. And Idris Elba continues to shine as Knuckles and make it his own. And my god, with Jim Carrey, man, you can just never go wrong with Jim Carrey. Like, he's just an all-around entertaining guy in anything he brings to the table, no matter what he does in any movie. His scenes were legitimately funny. Like, there was like a dance sequence between him and his grandpappy, Gerald Robotnik, and it's just like the funniest thing. I kept laughing in my seat. And he actually goes through an arc where there's actual development to him, and where he brings not just about out and about wanting to destroy Sonic and his friends. Yeah, there's actual development to him, and you see he goes through a conflict of his own in this movie. I won't spoil what it is, but he plays it very well too.
What?
The fact that he could play and portray two different characters at the same time, well, thanks to VFX, but in the same movie, but the point thing is that he makes them very both distinct from each other. It's no easy feat, and like people are saying that this could potentially be like Oscar-worthy and stuff. I mean, I'm not sure like Jim Carrey's on like Oscar level, but like, I mean, hell, if this gives him an Oscar nomination at least, that would be amazing. As a moviegoer, I'm not gonna delve deep into like how well it adapted to video games. I mean, that's not the only thing I'm looking for. I mean, it was a very respectful adaptation of like Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow's own 2006 game. I'm sure I can delve into more specifics as to what the film referenced, what parts of the story from the original games were adapted all day, but it would be heading to spoiler territory, so I'll save that for potentially another day. But nonetheless, I mean, you could say that this film also relies on like nostalgia, especially for most Sonic fans like us who, know these characters and backstories by heart. And yeah, what makes this movie great is not like the nostalgia value. They don't just slap things on there just for the sake of nostalgia. They adapt their own story so they could like fit. Well, actually, no. They adapt the nostalgia to fit into and adapt it into the story that they're trying to tell. Their own retelling version of the story. And I mean, this sounds similar to like the Disney live action remakes, but this is not that. This is not Mufasa, okay? But yeah, it adapts it very well from a movie standpoint, from a movie point of view on the screen, and yeah, it does that very well. But even though the story is similar, if not very reminiscent of the games it's adapting, the concepts and themes and storyline of this movie tackles is, in my personal opinion, still pretty basic and cliche as you can get. However, what's important, like I said, is how they execute those things. And to me, they did it super well. It really does succeed in getting you to feel and engage, not take your eyes off the screen. The movie is able to get you invested in these characters. And yeah, for a movie where CGI characters take up like, what, 75% of the screen time? Yeah, it's honestly impressive. And the moments the characters go throughout this film come full circle from beginning to end. For example, this moment in the trailer.
But you didn't change who you are in here.
Yeah, in my lungs.
Or your heart.
It's a recurring theme for the character arc that Sonic goes through, as well as Shadow, and it pays off very effectively by the climax of the movie. But the music, bro, the music! Oh man, the music was so highlighted. For you Sonic fans, you'll probably know what I'm talking about, and they pay homage to some of the tracks and music from the games, and it was so cool seeing it adapted on the big screen. But yeah, just the overall soundtrack in general, it's like, this is probably the darkest of the trilogy, by the way. And yeah, this movie was like very epic and like grand. It was just so good. Like, you get Junkie XL, you can never go wrong with the guy. It is absolutely clear to me that this was done with a lot of love and passion. You know, they very much clearly care about the fans, and it helps that Jeff Fowler previously worked on the Shadow the Hedgehog game, and yeah, he really knows like the fan, like what we're passionate about. Yeah, that's what makes this movie so successful. But I will say the only negatives I'll say about this movie is that it's very fast-paced though. Like the movie, I think like it's kind of too fast-paced for my taste because it's not enough. I didn't feel like there was not enough time on their emotional and deeper serious moments. Like, I mean, it's action set piece after action set piece. It's like one after the other, like straight up, like right from the get-go. And no, there's nothing entirely wrong with that, but I'm not even sure if it's intentional with these Sonic films, since, you know, Sonic's gotta go fast, and it's still partially a kid's movie, but it goes to show just how fast-paced the movie was, yeah, which again, not really within my taste. But I think my biggest criticism is the comedy. Like, some works, especially between Sonic and Shadow, like if you were complaining about like some of the quips and exchanges with each other being too comedic, dude, like that's a basic, typical Sonic and Shadow interaction.
Excuse me? Why do you look like me?
I don't look like you. You look like me. Why do you look like me?
But to be honest, it was mostly overdone. Like, that's why I say there's not a lot of not enough time for us to invest in these emotional moments, because like, as soon as pretty much like an emotional moment happens, like throughout most of the time, it's another joke thrown in, like kind of like the MCU. So yeah, it was mostly overdone, and because of that, the emotional moments for me, a lot of them get downplayed, you know, except for the major ones where the filmmakers knew they needed to get right, more specifically when it revolved around Shadow's backstory and character on screen. But honestly, like, that's the thing I want to see more of, is like, this is the darkest and deepest Sonic film of the trilogy, and even though it's still funny, I feel like it was like the least funny because of all of these darker moments. But honestly, I would like to see that more. I'd like to see that side of, you know, the Sonic franchise tackle that. Like, if we got a bit more of that, like just a little more, for example, more time spent with Maria and Shadow's backstory, I feel like this movie would have been perfect. And lastly, the post-credit scene. Dude, the post-credit scene. For you Sonic fans, you know what I'm talking about, but in general, you please stay for the post-credits. You will not be disappointed. Like, I was screaming out of my nuts at the post-credits scene. Like, probably the best post-credits scene of like 2024. Like, it just made me so happy, dude. But in conclusion, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is a film worthy, and I highly recommend you checking out in theaters, whether or not you're a big fan of the Sonic franchise. If you just want a good story, if you want like a very good story with like character arcs that go very deep and yeah, are more developed, like if that's something that you didn't really find, like the past Sonic films didn't really have a big story, you're gonna get it with this one. The comedy aspects, that's something that also down up to 11, and that's honestly something that I'm not a big fan of, to be honest. I wish they dialed that down more, so it gives way for more of the emotional moments for us to invest in more, because I feel like honestly it didn't really make us that like fully, well, at least that's my personal opinion. I wish we got more of that. But in the end, like, yeah, like I said, Sonic 3, dude, really good action. Like, the CGI is so clean and so polished. Like, it's one of the best looking CGI movies I've seen, you know, yeah, in 2024. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna go watch it again with family, and well, if I can, if not by myself, because this movie is so damn good. It's one of my favorite films of 2024. I'm gonna give Sonic the Hedgehog 3 8.3 out of 10 and an A-. There's already a Sonic 4 confirmed for early 2027, and if you watch the post-credit scene, stay for the post-credit scene, it'll probably give you a sort of better idea of what it could be. Yeah, but we could dive in all day into what that could be. And there's also, you know, with the whole, you know, Mufasa and Sonic 3 competition, and apparently, you know, Disney's using like bully tactics on theater to get theaters to show more Mufasa so they can win at the box office, and I honestly feel like that's really dirty. And like the competition, it's still going, and that's another thing I could talk about on another separate video. But anyways, I'm overstretching my time because I need to be back home for dinner. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like this, be sure to punch the subscribe button in the face so you can tune in for more videos like this. Be sure to hammer that like button. Feel free to leave a comment below and what you thought of the movie if you've seen it, and if you haven't seen it or are going to see it, how hyped you are for this movie. Let me know what you think of the movie in general, regardless, in the comments below. And please, be sure to share this to as many people as you can, whether it's your dad, your mom, your brother, your sister, I don't care. Anybody who is a fan of movies in general, or of the Sonic franchise, that you can share around to. I really much appreciate it. But anyways, that's all, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you in line for the next movie. Rhinos, roll out. Take care.